Even with the added week in 2021, the 10 touchdown plateau is a baseline every talented skill player looks to achieve each season. It may sound like a given for the top players, but that's not necessarily true. Recent Hall of Famer Andre Johnson not once in his 14-year career had a double-digit touchdown season, and plenty of other notable players like Jason Witten, Keenan Allen, Greg Olsen, T.Y. Hilton, Emmanuel Sanders, Golden Tate have never reached the 10 touchdown mark in a single season. Julio Jones did it just once in his 13-year career, and same for Frank Gore in his 16-year career. So with that said, we're gonna go over some of the most random double-digit touchdown seasons in recent memory. Let's start with LaRon Robinson. After going in the third round of the 2007 draft to the Falcons, it took a while for Robinson to make an impact in the NFL. His first 4 seasons were underwhelming, mainly highlighted by injuries and being buried on the depth chart. After 2 seasons in Atlanta and 2 in St. Louis, Robinson signed with San Diego, but was not able to make the final roster out of camp. He was then picked up by the Dallas Cowboys, but did not see any regular season action until week 3. When Miles Austin missed time with a hamstring injury, it opened the door for Robinson to get some snaps, and he delivered. From weeks 8 through 12, Robinson caught 7 touchdowns, and caught 2 more in the season finale versus the Giants. This put Robinson at 11 touchdowns on the year, along with 858 receiving yards. After that season, he was a free agent, and Jacksonville bought into the hype, signing Robinson to a 5-year, $32.5 million contract. He was signed there to be the #1 wide receiver, but it did not go well. Robinson actually suffered 4 concussions his first year in Jacksonville, and during that season only played in 7 games, averaging just 36 yards per game. In the following offseason, Robinson did pass the physicals, but he did tell reporters, "There's no way I could line up and play a game tomorrow." The Jaguars moved on from Robinson, releasing him 1 year into his 5-year deal. The team had a new GM, Robinson had too much of a health risk, and the Jaguars already had receivers they liked like Justin Blackmon and Cecil Shorts. Robinson ended up playing 6 seasons in the NFL. He battled a ton of injuries, mainly concussions, but still found a way to capture lightning in a bottle for the Cowboys in the 2011 season. Our next player brings us to the running back position for the Minnesota Vikings in 2014. In 2014, this was the year Adrian Peterson got suspended for 15 games, and the Vikings had to rely on a tandem of different backs to replace him. One was rookie Jerick McKinnon, who of course plays with the Chiefs, and the other was Matt Asiata. Asiata to that point had been in the NFL for 2 seasons, but had not done much sitting behind Adrian Peterson during his prime. But with this suspension, Asiata led the Vikings in carries and punched in 9 touchdowns, and added 1 through the air, giving him a total of 10 touchdowns for the 2014 season. It wasn't too memorable as the Vikings went 7-9 and they were tough to watch, but with the opportunity, Asiata did find his way to a 10 touchdown season. He spent a total of 5 years in the NFL, averaging 3.5 yards per carry, but never had a season that topped 2014. Next we go back to the wide receiver position. Allen Hurns had a 6-year NFL career, but he's probably most remembered for his gruesome injury during the wildcard round of 2019. But before that, Hurns actually had a good run with the Jaguars and Blake Bortles in the 2015 season. Hurns was able to put up a season with not only 10 touchdowns, but over 1,000 receiving yards as well. Hurns found the end zone in 7 straight games from weeks 3 through 9, and had 3 games of over 115 receiving yards during that span. Sadly for Hurns, this was the peak of his career. He did cash in on a nice extension for $40 million over 4 years, but heavily regressed the next year, averaging under 40 yards per game and missing the final 5 games of the season due to injury. On the bright side, he was able to return and play after that horrific injury in the 2019 playoffs. He did come back and play for the Miami Dolphins in 2019, but did not have too much success. After opting out of the 2020 season, he was injured right before the 2021 season and has not played in a game since. Our next random 10 touchdown season brings us to one of the many running backs that have benefited from Kyle Shanahan's offense. In 2020, Jeff Wilson only started 3 games and played in 12, but still found his way to 10 touchdowns on the season. Entering 2020, Wilson had not even seen 100 carries for his entire career, but injuries to Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert paved the way for Wilson to see more work. The way Wilson got to 10 touchdowns was definitely non-linear, but he still got there. Through the first 6 games of 2020, Wilson only scored 2 touchdowns, and both came in the same game versus the Giants. In week 7 though, Wilson popped off off for over 100 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns versus the Patriots before leaving that game with a high ankle sprain. He ended up on the IR, missing the next 3 games, but came back with a vengeance the final 4 games of the season. Wilson finished off with 5 touchdowns in the final 4 games, needing 2 in the final week of the season to score 10 total. In what was a rare down year for the Kyle Shanahan era in San Francisco, Jeff Wilson was able to be a bright spot on a struggling team with high expectations. Our next guy on this list also found his success during the COVID season, and he was lucky enough to catch passes from the league MVP that year. Robert Tonyan was an undrafted free agent who was released by the Lions right before the start of his rookie season. He got picked up by Green Bay, but hadn't really done anything of note in his first 2 NFL seasons. But with Jimmy Graham leaving after 2019 for the Bears, the Packers needed somebody else to step up at the tight end position. Tonyan, who to that point only had 14 catches and 2 touchdowns in his career, saw a career-high 59 targets in 2020, playing in all 16 games. Through the first 4 weeks, he scored 5 touchdowns, including a 3-touchdown game on Monday Night Football versus the Falcons. After going on a 5-game touchdown drought in the middle of the year, Tonyan finished 2020 scoring in 6 of his final 7 games, giving him a total of 11 touchdown grabs. Tonyan has not been able to replicate a season like this, having torn his ACL in 2021. In 2022, he got more opportunity, but still did not look like himself, and in 2023, he played a small role on the Bears offense. At not even 30 years old, maybe we could see Tonyan do this again, but it depends which team he goes to and if they give him a chance. Our final player on the list may be my favorite because of how random it was and how perfectly things had to align for this to happen. In 2008, the Ravens on paper had a very stacked running back room. They had veteran Willis McGahee and second-round rookie Ray Rice. So coming into the 2008 season, you wouldn't expect anyone else to have a good rushing season for the Baltimore Ravens. But that brings us to LaRon McClain. McClain was listed at 6 feet tall, 250 pounds, and mostly played fullback for his career. If you take out the 2008 season, McClain never had more than 50 carries in a single year in his 7-year career. But based on circumstances, mainly McGahee and Rice being injured, McClain saw a team-high 232 carries on the ground. He was able to turn that into 900 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns on the year. McClain also had the longest run of any NFL player in the 2008 season, which is even more impressive given he was 250 pounds. His 82-yard touchdown run that year actually went down as the final touchdown scored in Texas Stadium, which was the former home of the Dallas Cowboys. McClain may also be remembered for allegedly spitting in the face of Channing Crowder, who a lot of us know now based on his media career, and based on the video, it does look like he spit on him. A couple of honorable mentions before we end here. In the 2012 season, Packers wide receiver James Jones had 14 touchdowns, which led the NFL. That was very unexpected. And Kenyon Drake in the 2020 season found the end zone 10 times during his first full season in Arizona. That's going to do it for the video. Leave in the comments anyone I left out for the most random 10 touchdown seasons of all time. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.